Hey everyone, I am here with Miss Gabriela Gerhart with the Motherhood Center. And Gabriela, how are you?
Doing good.
Good,
Yeah.
good. So are you originally from Houston?
Yeah, based on my accent, you can pick up, right?
Yeah, South Houston, right?
South Houston, yeah, exactly. No, actually, when I was here, probably just a couple of years, somebody asked me, "Are you from Louisiana?" I'm like, "Nope, no, Czech Republic." So yeah, I've been here 21 years.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So you weren't born in Texas, but you came here as fast as possible, right?
Pretty much, kind of, it was kind of a destiny. Things just
Yeah.
kind of were meant to be somehow. Yeah.
So what made you come to not only Texas, but come to Houston?
Sure. So I did not pick Houston necessarily, or Texas. I came here through an au pair program.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar, but it's so it's basically exchange student program, and I was assigned to work with a family here in Houston, and it was a 1-year assignment, and because of my pediatric nurse background,
Okay.
they had a preemie, so baby Cooper was just 10 days old when I got here, and he had 3 additional brothers, 5, 7, and 9-year-old, and so I kind of spent the year with them and learned the American lifestyle, and so that was kind of my starting point.
That's
in
wonderful.
Houston. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So tell me about this center. You know, you took me on a tour real quick before we filmed, and it's amazing. It looks like, you know, you have yoga for pregnant women, you have massages, you have, I mean, so tell me a little bit about the idea, you know, where it came from, and,
Sure.
you know, and then how you built it.
Okay. So the Motherhood Center have been around pretty much 19 years,
Okay.
and it's hard to believe, but and it really just kind of listening to my clients' needs, and so after my au pair year was over, my husband at that point, we got married and fell in love and got married,
Yeah.
and so I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do and kind of what the next chapter in my life is, and my husband got a phone call from a friend of a friend, and we just got home with a baby and have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And we've heard that your wife does.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so my husband is like, well, you know, would you like to help them? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously I love babies, and that's just my passion. And so I spent about 10 days with the family, and really just kind of teaching them about the baby.
Yeah.
You know, and helping them transition into motherhood and fatherhood, and just from breastfeeding to just really kind of the general baby care, and allowing them to get a little extra rest.
Yeah.
And so after that assignment, you know, the mom is like, so what are we supposed to do now? And I'm like, well, there is some place for you to go, you know, and this assignment led to another assignment, and pretty much the story was the same. You know, as I'm leaving, moms are kind of in tears, and it's like, what are we supposed to do now? I'm like, well, there's some place to go. And so once I kind of said that a few times and realized there's not a place for them to go, that's really kind of where the idea of the Motherhood Center started.
That's wonderful.
And it just really kind of creating kind of a comprehensive resource for expecting and new parents. And I'm sure you kind of hear there's all kinds of stories, all kinds of approaches, and everybody has their own view on things. And so I just wanted to create kind of a one resource, so moms don't have to kind of, you know, use, of course at that point there was not a Dr. Google, you know,
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
now we have that added to it, but it's just really kind of where to find quality information, unbiased, study-based, and I'm a firm believer just following your instinct.
Exactly.
You know, in as far as parenthood, but it is if you have quality information to base your information or decision on, it's that much more better. And that's kind of how it evolved, you know, over the years, where we've been adding services and adding classes, and based on what we've been kind of hearing from our clients, they want, or we've been seeing that they kind of, you know, the grandparents are now, they wanted to be involved, but they are not really sure kind of what to do. So we created a grandparents refresher class, and it's very kind of a fun way for grandparents to learn without feeling kind of intimidated.
Exactly.
You know, because it's like, well, I raised you, I know everything. You know, it's like, well, things have changed in 20 plus years, and
very much so.
You know, I mean, in 2 years, you know.
Yeah.
We have clients when they come back for classes and they had a toddler, because like, you know, I think Mother Nature kind of like helps you forget some things.
Exactly.
You know, especially the beginnings, and it's like, well, we kind of forgot how to do this and that, or what's the new thing now. So
yeah, well, you know, it's wonderful because, you know, like we were talking, my wife is we have 7 weeks and a few days left,
Yeah.
and we have no idea what to do. And it's neat because you're exactly right. No one, like especially first time parents, have no idea.
Sure.
I didn't even know we had our first shower, and we got this boppy thing. And I had no idea what that was. Just a pillow,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it's awesome that you have all these classes, and not just for the expectant mothers, but for the grandparents and for the fathers especially too. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. We just had somebody kind of visiting our class and one of our newborn care classes, and it was very interesting. She said, I was surprised how many dads were there. I'm like, that's an interesting point, because we kind of, the way we structure, we just assume that the couple, the mom and the partner are coming together, because it is two of them need to kind of work on this together. And so I did kind of share with her that pretty much all of our classes are attended as a couple, even the breastfeeding classes.
Yeah.
I kind of joke with the dads, it's like, you will have interesting conversation the next day at work, but there's just so much to learn, and if the dads don't know, it's kind of like, well, just put the baby on the breast and it will just happen.
Yeah.
And there's at least 3 hours of information just about that,
So what classes do you offer? I mean, what kind of, I'm sure you have a ton, but can you name a few that are the more, I guess, popular ones?
Sure. So I would say, kind of during pregnancy, besides kind of the prenatal yoga, prenatal fitness, we do pregnancy massages, and but as far as the educational classes, so it would be kind of the basics would be the breastfeeding child class, newborn care class, childbirth class / Lamaze / prepared childbirth,
Okay.
and CPR classes.
Oh,
and of
awesome.
course, additional would be the grandparents refresher, infant massage classes.
That's wonderful.
And like the CPR classes, it's kind of at any point in life, everybody really needs to take that. And so we do see that so many of our clients, it's kind of like, okay, we need to, if there is one class we need to take, it's a lot of times the CPR class. But I would say, the newborn care class, again, gives you kind of a good foundation of information. And so once you have your baby, once you are getting all these advices, you can kind of filter through that a little better.
Yeah, well, and it's, CPR, I know, it just it changes, like it seems every year almost.
Yeah,
and,
it does, yeah.
And especially with infants, I know it's totally different with a baby and, an actual grown adult.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that they kind of simplified it. So it really is, I mean, our curriculum changed as of, last year. So, yeah.
And I know that, you and your husband started this. So I've asked this to every woman that I've interviewed and talked with. What advice would you give to a young woman, be her, living in Houston or someplace else? What advice would you give to a young woman that's maybe wanting to become an entrepreneur or wanting to start her own business?
Wow, so many kind of suggestions, advices, thoughts.
Yeah.
Perseverance, I mean, there's going to be roadblocks basically every day.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's kind of how you respond to those. And it's not that the roadblocks is something necessarily always negative, but it kind of challenges you. And once you kind of overcome one thing, there will be another one. And so you kind of grow as a person, as a businesswoman. I personally just love, I mean, obviously I'm very passionate about babies and pregnancy, but I'm very passionate about business too. And I kind of like the challenges because it kind of challenges me to grow and just being able to kind of think outside of the box.
Exactly.
Because it's, even for my company, it's been around 19 years, and so things have evolved and changed from marketing to, just kind of a general information what parents want, and even pregnancy-wise, where pregnancy was 19 years ago, it was kind of like, oh, she's pregnant, don't touch her, kind of like everybody was so careful, where pregnancy now is kind of a trendy thing,
Yeah.
And, and so kind of how each of our departments kind of evolve over the years, and so being able to be flexible and applicable and just really kind of constantly learning. Somehow, and I don't know, and I'm so, somebody's looking after me, there's still not a one day, and I have to knock at the wood, there's still not a one day where I woke up in the morning and kind of was dreading to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you lose that, it would be so hard. So just always kind of finding what makes you happy, what challenges you, what really kind of like the obstacles, taking them kind of like a good thing in a way, you know, because you can kind of get, you know, burned down pretty quickly if you take things too personally.
Oh, yeah.
And there's that, I don't know if you've seen that kind of like those graphs, like this is what you think like the path will be.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, okay, here, there. And that's kind
Yeah.
of a life of an entrepreneur, because, you know, I can walk in and, you know, I can wake up and have kind of my, you know, plan for the day and, you know, goals and for the
Totally
week.
changes.
And it's like I walk in, it's like, oh, the phones are down.
Yeah.
Or it's like internet's like, what? You know,
Yeah.
this is not happening. Or, you know, something, you know, our kitchen flooded. And it's like,
Yeah.
so it's like, what we are going to do now? So
Kind of just have to roll with the punches.
that's that's kind of the entrepreneurial life. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great advice. That's all.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
in a good way, but it's, you know, that's kind of the reality. And, you know, I'm on all kinds of, you know, business forums, and it's interesting because sometimes even kind of in the yoga community,
Mhm.
you know, yoga studio, you know, you can have a great yoga instructor, and, you know, and she has great following, and she's like, wow, I wanted to open up a studio. And fast forward 2-3 years later, she or he learns that they're not teaching anymore.
Yeah, they're having
Because
to run
they don't
the
have,
business.
they have to run a business. So before kind of starting into, you know, kind of starting a business, or just really like what really drives you and what makes you happy, and not, you know, I think women kind of, we kind of say that women have kind of harder time to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think that can go for men and women, really, honestly. But asking for help, you know, because most likely there's somebody who is much better doing accounting than me. You know, so it's like, okay, let's have the right person for this, and you know, and for website and marketing, and, you know, all kinds of things. So
That's a good point.
Yeah,
is actually
for
asking for
help.
help.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And so I'll make sure that we tag you in this post.
Sure.
So if anyone wants to come see, and especially ladies, if you are expecting mother, or if you just had your baby, you're looking for questions, if you have any questions or you need answers, you know, please come check out the Motherhood Center. There's so much stuff here for if you're looking for a pediatrician, if you're wanting to do yoga, massages, you know,
Nannies,
Nannies.
babysitting services.
they literally have everything. I know I'm actually going to talk to her for a little bit right afterwards and figure out what we need to do.
Yeah, we can kind of set you on a good path. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gabriela, thank you so much
Yeah.
for meeting with me, and you know, more importantly, happy National Women's History Month.
Yeah. Cheers
care.
to that. Yeah.